Don't fall asleep, I warn Maria as she flops down onto the plush hotel room bed. We're in Paris. I mean, we're actually in a hotel room in Paris. The room is gorgeous, gilded and ornate fixtures with dark mahogany furnishing and glittering light fixtures. The walls are covered with intricately lined wallpaper, and a Van Gogh print hangs between the beds. That's pretty much all I've seen of Paris, beyond what I could catch outside my window from the airport to the hotel lobby. But we're actually, finally, here after all this time. So many incredible things have happened in this city. Winning a junior figure skating world championship would probably rank pretty low on the list, but that it could be on the list at all is kind of amazing. But we left home yesterday and now tomorrow's already half over, she whines, covering her face with a pillow. That barely makes sense, and we have the opening ceremony soon, then the athletes' reception like right after. You know, we have to let the judges and sponsors see our brightest and shiniest faces. Sponsors? She asks, pulling the pillow away. Yeah, Mr. Monroe has a couple of, he called them face-to-faces, set up for me and Brayden, where we'll have to pretend to be a super happy couple, and I have no idea if I'm capable of that right now. I haven't had a chance to talk to him since the flight. I'm going to have to talk to Charlie. If his dad is already setting up sponsorships for you guys, then the least he can do is save some for his son and his son's partner. I hum in response. Maria and Charlie are going to be junior competitors for at least another season, if not two, so there's definitely still plenty of time for things like sponsorships. I'm going to steam my dress for the party. If you get yours out, I'll do yours too. There's a sharp rap on the door and I go to answer it. Camille's on the other side with the package in her hands. Hey, I say, waving her inside. The NFSC had these made for you guys, team tracksuits. They're really into this now, aren't they? Camille shrugs. They're pretty fed up with how we finished in Beijing. They want the generation coming up to succeed. And tracksuits equal success? A healthy team concept before you all make it to the senior ranks, Camille says, handing one to me and then tossing one to Maria, who sat up immediately at the mention of free clothes. So yes, tracksuits. Happy to represent Team USA, I say, opening it to reveal a dark blue set with red piping at the edges of the collar and wrists and matching bottoms. USA is emblazoned on the left lapel, in case anyone wasn't sure which country we were representing. I had my first international assignment 2 years ago, the first year Brayden and I teamed up. It was an incredible jump from brand new partners to skating for our country, and even though we finished dead last, it was still exciting. Now, just being here isn't enough. We're here to win. Get dressed. There's a bus picking us up in 15. The bus is one of those high-end transports with blacked-out windows and large leather seats. Brayden's already at the back of the bus, earbuds in, staring out the window, and maybe I should just rip the Band-Aid off, sit next to him and talk this through. But I'm not that brave. I slide into the seat next to Riley, who holds up her phone immediately for a picture. Maybe some of your internet fame will rub off on me. Maybe I can hit the 100K mark too, she says, laughing, tagging me in the post. I take the hint and immediately pull out my phone, like and comment on the post with a bunch of American flags and red and blue hearts to match our outfits. 250,000 as of this morning. Do you know what we're going to have to do with this thing? Literally nothing except go out on the ice and wave to the crowd when we're announced. Last year we did that part and left like right afterward. It's more a show for the fans. It should be pretty full, I think. Last year in China, it was sold out, and like figure skating is an even bigger deal in France than it is there. Especially ice dance, with a smile. Papadakis and Scissorin are basically royalty here. Thanks to nearly 3 Olympic quads where the ice dance competitors, including the French team, like I said, stole the show, our little corner of the sport is finally starting to pull in some real attention. Like, sometimes my dad's attitude about ice dance really gets to me, but it's easy enough to explain when you remember that no one paid attention to it when he was competing. Now, though, ice dancers are sometimes even more famous than the skaters in the other disciplines. Fame isn't something I ever really thought I wanted. Growing up, we were already sort of semi-famous, and it seemed weird to want more. But every day, my social media following is growing, and that's the true measure of fame now, right? The bus comes to a halt outside the arena a few minutes later, and it's starting to feel like the only way I'm going to see Paris is as scenery racing past a bus window. And not even that much of it, because the arena isn't far from the hotel, and we probably could have walked over. We're hustled into a back entrance and through a tunnel that leads underneath the arena's seats, towards the entrance of the rink. There are athletes in tracksuits from all the countries participating, wandering around. "It is very simple," says a tall woman with a headset, her English accented with a slight hint of French. "You will skate out onto the ice, wave to the crowd, and when you hear the announcer call the next names, skate off the ice, still waving. Questions." We all look back and forth at each other, and then at her, nodding. "Bien, attends d'ici," she says, slipping back into French, but we get the gist. The teams are being announced in alphabetical order, by country, and then by discipline. Girls first, then boys, then pairs, then ice dance. "Guys, we should line up how we're going to go out. Katya and Jillian first, then Ben and Jimmy." I trail off when Katya wheels around and glares at me with an eyebrow raised. "We're you," Katya says. "It's going to be forever." We're Freddie fills in. "We're in France, so États-Unis d'Amérique." "Exactly," I say, and send him a small smile, which he returns. It's sort of soft and feels like the Freddie I knew before everything got so screwed up. A slight flush warms my cheeks and I have to look away. Katya huffs, but the team gets into some semblance of order, Brayden and I falling to the back with Riley and Freddie. "Hey, did you bring those pants?" Brayden asks out of nowhere, like the last thing he said to me imploded my brain. "What pants?" I ask, staring at him like, seriously? "The leather ones," he says, clarifying, eyes flicking down at my legs. No, why?" "Damn, those would have been good to wear tonight." "You want to wear my leather pants?" Jimmy and Ben lose it, at that, laughing so hard they actually have to hold each other up to stay standing. Not for me, though I could rock some leather pants. I mean, for you. I tilt my head. Why would I wear leather pants to an athlete's reception? That'd be a little much, no? Not for the reception. For after. After? We're in Paris. Aren't we going out? He says it so casually, so sure that I'm going to agree. Are we just going to ignore what happened on the plane? Is that his plan? Pretend like it never happened. We've gotten pretty good at pretending in the last couple of weeks. What's one more thing? "We have training tomorrow," I say, squinting at him. "We can't go out tonight." "Sure we can. Training's not until late, and we're 6 hours ahead of where our internal clocks need to be." That is so not how jet lag works. "Come on, Russo. It's the city of lights. We have to see it." "Well, I'm in," Riley says. "Riley," Freddie and I say at the same time, to my total mortification. "I know some people here," Brayden says, and I'm not even surprised. He knows people everywhere. "We'll keep it super low-key, no drinking, nothing crazy, just hanging out together. Think of it as team bonding." "See?" Riley agrees immediately. "We go out and see something that isn't the hotel for once at one of these. How much trouble could we get in? The sheer possibilities running through my brain right now would be taller than you." "I'm not that tall, so what are the odds," Riley sings at me, "that you're going out tonight?" I groan and shoot a desperate look at Freddie, who shrugs. It's his stupid game after all, but there's no helping it. 1 out of 5, I say, and Riley smiles. 3, 2, 1, shoot! She counts us down, and I put down 4 fingers, and shit, so does she. "Yes, victory is mine," she shouts, raising her arms in celebration. "We're going out." "If you guys are going out tonight, we're coming too," Maria says from up ahead. "We're going out?" Charlie asks, but then nudges Ben behind him. "We're going out tonight." And by the time the news reaches Katya and Gillian at the front of the line, there's no more time to protest. I'm not sure this was the kind of team building the NFSC had in mind, but it's too late now. "États-Unis d'Amérique." The announcer calls, and our names begin to echo out immediately afterward. Freddie and Riley go out before us, and then, finally, Adriana Russo and Brayden Elliott. I wasn't prepared for the shrieking. The last time I heard a noise like that, it was when Elisa convinced Dad to take us to a Jonas Brothers concert. A spotlight follows us out onto the ice, and the screams only seem to get louder. Brayden takes my hand, and we skate at a measured pace, waving to the crowd as we go. As we get to the edge of the rink, the cheers start to subside a smidgen. His grip tightens slightly, like it does whenever we're about to bow together at the end of our programs. I let him lead me into a spin underneath his arm, but he doesn't let go entirely. Instead, pulls me into a low dip, which sets the crowd off again. It feels like magic is swirling around us, sending every nerve ending a jolt of pure joy, flaring out from where his fingertips are pressing into the small of my back, even through my jacket and the shirt underneath. A shiver slides through me, and he sends me a wink. Okay then, pretending he never said anything on the plane, it is. I can do that. I can do this. I throw my head back and laugh, playing it up a little, before he spins me back to my feet and we skate off the ice as the next country is announced. The power of social media, Charles says, shaking his head back and forth. I'm not sure I'll ever fully understand it, but it seems as if it's working. I'd say so, Dad responds, before taking a sip of his glass. The reception is back at the hotel, in one of its massive ballrooms. I've been to parties like this before, usually at nationals, but those are held at like a Hilton or a Marriott. This hotel is wildly different. It looks like something out of my history textbook, all columns and intricately carved sculptures and actual candelabras lining the walls, with a gigantic chandelier at the center of the room. I'm extra glad I packed a decent party dress for this reception. Walking in here in a Team USA tracksuit was not going to cut it. Instead, I'm in my favorite black dress and the one pair of heels I own, a set of strappy black sandals that I used when Brayden and I took a salsa class about a year ago. I basically tower over everyone in the room, except for a couple of the men, Brayden and Freddie included. Everyone else seems to be appropriately sized for figure skating. The power of social media, Charles says, shaking his head back and forth. I'm not sure I'll ever fully understand it, but it seems as if it's working. I'd say so, Dad responds, before taking a sip of his glass. We should take advantage of this now, Charles says, and I refocus on the conversation as best I can. I've already had some calls with a few of the companies you've been doing ads for, but I've also decided to set a threshold for the two of you, financially speaking, so we won't have too many demands on your time, so we'll make sure anything you do is something that's worth your while. Sounds like a plan to me, Brayden says, squeezing my hand. And I've had calls from Nike. I choke on a sip of seltzer. Nike? I ask through a cough. Nike, Charles confirms. It's early days and we have a bit of a negotiation ahead of us, but they see the wisdom in signing you two this far out from the games. You give them a bit of a discount for the length of the deal, but we'll have it set to renegotiate in 4 years, so you can profit on your fame now, but have a chance to really cash in if you do well at the Olympics. Shaking my head, I take another sip of my drink, slower this time in case he has any more surprises to throw at us. Let's not jinx us, okay? I managed to say, still in total disbelief. And while I have you here, he says it mostly to my dad, though the film crew that worked on Kellinch, they're interested in filming again, maybe as these two get prepped for Senior Worlds next month. Figure skating isn't a sport that takes a break for an Olympic year. They still hold their Senior World Championships as scheduled, regardless, even though most of the competition is watered down after the games. Dad nods. Of course, it'll be even bigger as we'll have 3 athletes. We don't even know if we'll be sent to Senior Worlds, I say, cutting in quickly, the panic rising at the idea. But we're not ready. Not to, actually compete. We'd need to add an extra... Camille's well aware of what you'll need to do to get prepared for a senior competition, Charles insists, and he's not wrong. I have full confidence that you'll do well. Not win, of course, but a good starting point for next season. It will show Nike you're ready for the big time as we negotiate. Charles turns back to Dad to say something, but I don't hear it. There's buzzing in my ears until Brayden nudges me a bit with his elbow. You okay? He mumbles. I look up at him and he takes a deep breath and squares his shoulders like he's about to say something. Something important. Something like what he said back on the plane. And you know what? I was perfectly happy ignoring it, so I cut in before he can utter another word. Do you still want to go out tonight? Yeah, he says, furrowing his brow, studying me carefully like he's trying to figure out where I'm going with this. Good luck to him, because I'm barely sure where I'm going with this. Well then, let's go out. Okay then, he says, a wide smile playing over his face as we excuse ourselves from the conversation. Let me grab the other girls, I say, pulling up our group chat on my phone. You get the guys. We'll meet in the lobby in 15 minutes. He doesn't respond, a funny look playing across his face. Brayden, I ask, tilting my head. Right, yeah. I'll round up the boys and we'll get going. 15 minutes later, we're in the lobby, and 5 minutes after that, we're in cabs setting out to a place the hotel's concierge recommended. Are we famous? Ben jokes as we make our way into the club, past the line of waiting people by a bouncer who holds a velvet rope open for us. It's not completely dark inside, like what I've always pictured a club looks like. It's got a chiller vibe than that. The walls are made of old stone, so it looks like the entire place was built out of an ancient tunnel or something, but there are neon lights lining the ceilings, changing colors and blinking with the pulsing beat of the music being spun by a DJ at the back of the room. How did we get in so easy? I ask Brayden, who's standing beside me. Charles called and mentioned that I might be stopping by with some friends tonight. Elisa answers for him, and smiling. He said we'd all be stopping by, Brayden says, quirking a smile at Elisa, who actually flutters her eyelashes at him in response. I don't think I've ever seen anyone in real life do that before, and I try to stifle a laugh, but it's tough. Brayden doesn't manage it quite as well as I do, and he tries to mask it in a cough. I need a drink, Elisa says, looking around for the bar. I think we all do, I mutter, and Brayden laughs again. But part of the deal was not drinking, right? Right, he says, nodding. Come on, we got a place to sit, Jimmy says, and we follow him to a corner of the club, a little set away from the sea of people out on the dance floor, drinks in hand. There are large leather couches roped off with a small sign that reads Réservé. Charles got us what is this? A VIP section? This is wild, Riley says, her eyes wide as she takes in the rest of the room. I've never been clubbing before, and the first time I go, I get to do it in Paris. Dance with me. She grabs my hand, and as she does, I grab Maria, who grabs Elisa, who grabs Katya, who grabs Jillian, and we're able to wind our way through as a group to a relatively open space on the floor. We should have brought the guys, Elisa shouts over the music, but I'm content to ignore her. The bass is pulsing through my chest, and this is why I wanted to go out tonight. I wanted to let the music completely surround me, loud and obnoxious, so that there's nothing else I can do but dance and ignore every other thought swirling in my head. Thoughts about sponsorships and medals and winning and pressure and nerves, because that's the only thing that conversation with Charles and Dad and Brayden did for me earlier. It wasn't exciting or thrilling or a dream come true. It was terrifying. I should have expected this. It's what I set myself up for, isn't it? Attention that leads to sponsorships, which leads to financial security. That was the plan. But now that I'm here and it's possible, it's a lot. Because it was never supposed to be me. I wasn't the Russo people talked about when we were growing up. That was always Elisa. She was Mom brought back to life on ice. She was supposed to be the legacy. And yeah, maybe I resented that a little bit, but there was also some freedom in that. Freedom to be too tall and to skate for the sheer joy and love of it. The only time I made a decision that was driven by anything other than those things was when I split with Freddie, and I'm still dealing with the fallout from that choice. Now, though, now it's different. People expect results from us. They expect us to win. They're even betting money on it. A lot of money. Nike doesn't play around. They wouldn't even talk to Charles about Elisa last year, even when it was clear she was going to make the Olympic team. It's all way too much. So instead, I dance.